Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in today for the CBS Virtual Experience. My name is Lynn. I'm the Senior Admissions Counselor for the College of Biological Sciences. We are so excited to spend the next hour with you showing highlights of our college here at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. To kick off our programming, we'll start with a welcome from the team. So Dr. Sarah DeWalt is the Dean of the College of Biological Sciences, and she is so excited to tell you what makes CBS so special. Dean DeWalt, take it away.
Great. Thank you, Lynn. As Lynn said, my name is Sarah DeWalt, and I'm Dean at the College of Biological Sciences here at the University of Minnesota, and welcome to this virtual experience. The fact that you are here means that you have worked really hard because admission to the College of Biological Sciences, or as CBS, as you will hear us say, is really competitive. So really well done. We know you belong here. And so let me tell you some of the reasons why this college and the University of Minnesota is the ideal place for you. Here in CBS, we are all about creating connections and community. We have designed the undergraduate experience to bring you together with your peers, to foster a sense of community where you'll feel supported and be able to find more easily your people, while at the same time giving you access to the most amazing experiences. You'll not be a number, you will be a name, and we are here to challenge, to excite, and to help support you all along the way. We've created several programs that help encourage these connections with the faculty who will be teaching your courses, the other students in CBS, the advisors who will be helping you choose courses in a path that's right for you. And we start helping you to make those connections with our truly one-of-a-kind Nature of Life program. So the Nature of Life program, or NOL as we call it, starts the summer before you arrive on campus. At Nature of Life, you, our incoming students, will spend a few days at our Itasca Biological Station with a group of other incoming first-year CBS students. So Itasca Biological Station is located in Itasca State Park in northwest Minnesota. And that is where the Mississippi River starts. That's where the headwaters of the Mississippi River begin. And it's an incredible place to start your own collegiate journey as well. One of the pictures here, the one in the top left, shows some students crossing the headwaters. So you'll get to meet and interact with some of our professors in this beautiful and relaxed environment. You'll jump right into doing some biology there in our faculty-led modules on the second and third days. And when I was there last summer, faculty were leading students in projects, isolating microbes from the environment. They were doing plant biochemistry, hummingbird ecology, looking at water quality using macroinvertebrates, and a lot more. My module was on forest biodiversity, and we used data from a long-term monitoring plot that is there at Itasca, led by a faculty member you'll hear from later. And we went out into the forest to see different types of forest structure and diversity. So at Itasca, you'll also get to connect with other CBS sophomores, juniors, and seniors who serve as peer mentors and can answer any questions you have about how college is going to work, the paths that they are on, and anything else that you might be curious about. And you'll get to make s'mores around the campfire, canoe on Lake Itasca, like you see here, hike out to the headwaters, and then you'll officially join the CBS community as you graduate and get a tie-dyed t-shirt. So we're in our 23rd year of Nature of Life, and if you ask any CBS student or alum since 2007, they'll tell you how fun and memorable the NOL Itasca experience was. And then back on campus in the fall, we'll continue to help you build your community through additional Nature of Life courses, as well as our introductory biology courses called Foundations of Biology. So Foundations of Biology is a 2-semester classroom and lab experience where you'll learn biology from distinguished faculty who teach in a student-centered way. You'll be an active learner, applying what you learn to real-world biological problems right there in the classroom and right there in the teaching lab. And I'd like to emphasize that this is an experience found at very few other universities. We in CBS really are special. We're constantly innovating how we teach biology. And in fact, we have a whole department for biology teaching and learning with expert faculty who study how to teach biology most effectively and how students learn best. In the first semester of Foundations teaching lab, you'll learn the skills to answer biological questions. And then in the second semester, you'll work with a team to address a research problem of your choosing, guided throughout by faculty and by teaching assistants. And we call these course-based undergraduate research experiences, and we know how effective they are for our learners. You also have lots of opportunities to engage in research and inquiry through upper level teaching labs in biochemistry, ecology, microbiology, neuroscience, animal behavior, whatever you want to do. And then discovery doesn't stop with research in your courses and teaching labs. We also encourage our students to work with our faculty in their research groups. We also make entry into research easy with our Dean's Research Program, which provides paid positions for students who haven't yet conducted research. So as a sophomore or later, you can apply to the program and we'll match you with a faculty member who's conducting research close to your interests. You'll have a semester to work in their lab and discover more about yourself and science along the way. And then there are lots of other undergraduate research opportunities. Our CBS faculty really enjoy working with undergraduate researchers and can't wait to have you join their research groups. And after my presentation, you're going to get to take a virtual tour of the lab of one of our star faculty. Speaking of faculty, we have about 150 in CBS, and they are leaders in their fields doing fascinating, game-changing science. Here are some pictures of 4 faculty in CBS who you would have a chance to work with and learn from here. We have Laura Niedernhofer, who studies the biology of aging and is finding therapeutics that help keep us healthier longer. Peter Kennedy uses field and lab-based experimental methods to investigate how symbiont communities are structured and what their ecological roles are in forest ecosystems worldwide. We have Kate Adamala, who is focused on building cells from scratch. Her work is helping us understand how life evolved and has applications for developing new medicines. And she even has research projects being conducted in space. And then Dr. Eric Seabloom helped start a global network of people across 37 different countries who are studying how grassland diversity is affected by disturbance and nutrient addition. College, we really believe college is a time for self-discovery. And as a CBS student, we provide every opportunity for you to explore, to discover, to connect, and to leave a better future. And we highly encourage our students to explore the world and study abroad. The University of Minnesota has one of the best and most extensive learning abroad programs in the country, with many, many options to study all over the world, be it for a week, a month, a semester, or even a year. I know that I myself really benefited from study abroad. I studied abroad for a semester in Ecuador, and I found it to be a life-changing experience. In fact, I became a tropical ecologist because of it. But regardless of the program that you want to pursue, we want to make learning abroad possible for you, regardless of your major. Our advisors will help you work it into your schedule, and we also have lots of scholarships to help make it financially possible as well. So no matter what aspects you choose, you'll have excellent support along the way. Here you see some pictures of our undergraduate student services and our advisors. And our location in Minneapolis and St. Paul means you'll be able to take advantage of all the Twin Cities offers, including opportunities to volunteer, to get engaged in the community, to intern at Fortune 500 companies, lots of nonprofits, and many other organizations. The University of Minnesota is really one of the few universities with a full breadth of disciplines. professional schools, including medical school, dental, veterinary medicine, public health, business, and law. And you can explore interests in all of these different areas seamlessly. So what does that mean for you? It means that the resources and opportunities available to you here are nearly unparalleled, and we are here to support you in every step of the way. So our CBS Undergraduate Student Services, which is located in the heart of the East Bank campus of Minneapolis in the Molecular and Cellular Biology building, that's actually where I am right now, is made up of 20 staff members focused on academic advising, student engagement, as well as career coaching. And we know what you want to do in college or after college may change 20 different times. It doesn't matter. We are here. Your advisors and faculty are here to help. So I hope that I have helped to convince you that the University of Minnesota is the place to be. Will help you connect with other people and opportunities, will inspire and challenge you to do your best, and help you to discover who you are and all that you can be. I'm really happy that you are considering the university, and I speak for all other CBS professors and advisors when I say that I hope to see you this summer at Itasca, so you can walk across the headwaters like the students in the middle photo, get your tie-dyed t-shirt like the students and professor in the left-hand picture, and then join us back on campus this fall. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Lynn.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Dean DeWalt, for the warm welcome and the overview of all that CBS has to offer. So now we will play a video of Dr. Emily Snell-Rood's lab to showcase what research in the lab can look like here in CBS. A distinguished researcher, Dr. Snell-Rood uses butterflies to study why organisms vary in their response to novel environments, using this to inform efforts related to conservation.
My name is Emily Snell-Rood. I'm a professor in ecology, evolution, and behavior. We use butterflies to study how organisms deal with human environments. We mostly do our work outside in the summer, and in the winter we bring science inside. I'm excited to come into the lab for all of the cool science that we're doing. It seems like there's so many horrible things going on in the world, and yet here we can do something about it. We use butterflies as an umbrella species to understand how organisms deal with human environments and what we can do about it from a conservation perspective. And I'm really excited to show you some of what we're up to, so come on in. So butterflies, like most insects, are in a steep decline, but they're incredibly diverse and easy to identify, so they can be used as indicators for what's going on in the ecosystem. Most of the habitat that's available for restoration is in areas that suffer from pollution. And so a lot of what we're doing is documenting that pollution in the field and then asking at what level does it start to impact the insect. One of the more recent types of pollution we've been looking at has been tire particles. So as you're driving along, your tires shed particles and they go up in the dust and they settle on the roadside and they sometimes blow miles away. They also settle on the plants along roadsides that butterflies and other insects are eating. And so we've been asking, how is this dust, and these are really, really fine little particles here, how is this tire dust affecting the caterpillars feeding on them? So we put them in caterpillar diet. What point does it start to negatively affect how a butterfly grows?
I really like the work that we do in this lab. A lot of us are motivated by conservation and trying to restore habitat, which I appreciate.
Biochar is combusted woody material that kind of looks like charcoal. So I worked on a project this summer where we added biochar to soil at a former unregulated landfill, and we were looking at how putting biochar in soil potentially removes or makes heavy metal contaminants less available to animals or organisms in the soil, so making it less harmful to things that might be there.
Through the lab, we've had probably over 200 undergrads come through the lab. And for undergrads, we're looking for anyone who's interested in research. Probably the most important thing is that they're curious, that they want to learn something, they want to try to explore stuff, because really as an undergrad, you're learning if you're interested in research and what parts of research, and if you like it, then you might be able to have your own project as well. And so we have lots of opportunities for students to run their own project as well.
And as soon as I got here, I knew that's what I wanted to do for my career. So I worked on lots of different projects with Emily, from surveying pollinators in the field to doing different measures on butterflies and dissections. And eventually it led to me applying for grad school to work with pollinators, and that's what I'm doing today.
So you can see these are eggs. It takes a lot of protein and fat to make eggs. So we're basically just counting whether exposure to the pollutant affects their reproduction. Some students want to come in and just catch some butterflies for summer and play with butterflies, and that's fine too. But if you really want to get into it and get deeper into the research and develop your own project to answer a question, those opportunities are there as well.
Emily is particularly organized and particularly connected. It's like shocking how connected she is with people, but just constantly doing new things and very excited about doing new things and really supportive of people in the lab.
Part of me feels uncomfortable calling it the Snellrud Lab because it's not really my lab. I'm kind of the figurehead, but really it's the people in the lab that make the lab what it is. So thanks for visiting the lab today and learning a little bit about some of the projects we're currently working on. I love to show students what we're doing in the lab and what we're doing in the field, because observation is the first step in science, and it often is what leads to the spark of a question or an idea or an inspiration for what you want to do next.
So I would say that a student that really wants to be hands-on with research, helping us preserve the ecosystem and environment in the future.
Going out in the field, catching butterflies with nets, it's so fun.
We welcome anyone into the lab who's curious, who wants to learn. Anyone from high school students up to seniors who are retired, and of course undergrads. So we hope to see you here soon.
Alrighty, well, I hope that video got you excited about engaging in research, and this really is just one example of all that CBS and the University of Minnesota has to offer. Before we jump into answering your questions in the panel discussion, and I am seeing some really great ones come in, feel free to continue to add questions to the Q&A box. I just want to get an idea of your interest in our various majors. So we do know that choosing your major can feel like a big decision. In CBS, you can study life at every scale through our 8 different majors. As Dean DeWalt mentioned earlier, this specialization in life sciences is something that really sets the U and our college apart. All of our majors provide strong foundations for careers in a wide variety of fields, from healthcare to biotech and education to conservation, as we just saw earlier. No matter which major you choose, you will get to explore the breadth and depth of biology. So just because I'm a little nosy, what we're going to do is we're going to put a poll on the screen, and I would love for you to select which major or majors you're currently interested in pursuing. No worries if you're undecided. I'll give you about 20-ish seconds to make your decision. Oh, anticipation. I'm so excited to see what the results are. Again, feel free to click the majors you're currently interested in pursuing. Again, I have some theories of what I think will be the top majors, but I'm excited to see if y'all prove me wrong. Okay, so let's go through the results. To no one's surprise, the most popular major was biology with 50% votes. This is the perfect major if you're looking to learn a little bit of everything. This really allows flexibility to study the courses across the disciplines that are really interesting to you. For example, if you're interested in evolutions and genetics, you can concentrate on the coursework in both of those areas without having to specialize into one. Another popular one I'm seeing is genetic cell biology and development, which is awesome. So this is a three-part major that we have that really focuses on how life works at its most fundamental level, from the instructions in our DNA to how those blueprints can really build complex living organisms. And then I know this one isn't as popular, but I do love to plug. I'm going to plug our ecology, evolution, and behavior program. This is a great major where you get a critical perspective on a wide range of topics and issues, from the role specific genes have in metabolism, evolution, and even behavior, to how climate change can affect organisms and the processes in tropical rainforests, grasslands, lakes, ponds. The world really is your laboratory, and you get to learn from some of our most talented faculty members you'll find anywhere, with several of our members actually in the prestigious National Academy of Sciences. So again, no matter what major you are most interested in, I really want to assure you that you can always change your major in CBS later. Many of our courses are the same across our majors for the first 2 years of your time as an undergraduate, and the core foundations classes will give you a really good chance to explore all areas of the life sciences, and our academic advisors will help you navigate the journey every single step of the way. I really invite you to explore our majors and our minors through our website. You can see what classes you might take, where our graduates go next from here. We'll put the link in the chat if you would like to review that. And at this time, I would now like to introduce you to Nikki Latowski-Schultz, our Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and International Programs, who will be leading our panel discussion. Take it away, Nikki.
Great. Well, I am excited it's hard to follow up an awesome science video, but we're going to talk a little bit about science and the University of Minnesota, and most importantly, answer a lot of your questions about the College of Biological Sciences. I have a number of panelists with me, so if you wouldn't mind turning on your video so we can see you all. I'm just going to give a little prompt to the panel that I'm going to go through and have them introduce themselves, their affiliation in CBS. And please continue to put your questions in the chat. I have a few pre-prompted ones to get us started based on what I've been seeing pop up in the chat. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. Just so everybody has time to prepare. Caleb, I'm going to ask you to go first, then Paige, then Liz, and Peter is going to bring it home. So Caleb, if you want to introduce a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Caleb, and I'm a sophomore and a biology major here in the College of Biological Sciences. I'm also joining you guys as a CBS ambassador today, and part of a lot of different programs through CBS. So if any of you guys have questions about programs and different things you can do through CBS, don't be afraid to ask.
Hi, my name is Paige. I am a senior in CBS. I'm a dual degree student, so I'm getting my art degree as well as my biology degree. And I am also joining as a CBS ambassador today. And yeah, it's nice to see all of you.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Kalinowski-Ort. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the Associate Director for Advising here in CBS. So I can answer questions about advising and courses you might take as a part of your programs, as well as other experiences that you can engage in as a student here in CBS.
Hello everybody, my name is, sorry, the internet connection is a little unstable on my end, but I hope you can hear me. My name is Peter Kennedy. I am a professor in the Department of Plant and Microbiology, but I actually have affiliations with multiple departments, the Ecology Evolution Department and the Biology Teaching and Learning Department. So I've been here for 12 years. We do lots of research both in the lab and outside, and I'd love to talk to you guys about your interest in getting involved in science in your CBS career.
Thank you, everyone. I think Peter's both research and teaching interests really showcase sort of the breadth of CBS, and that our majors don't necessarily stop and start with hard lines. We would call it a semi-permeable membrane as everything moves. There you go. There's my quick nod to science. So got to have a good science dad joke. Well, part of our job here is to help convince you. I'm just going to, put it out there to come to the College of Biological Sciences and understand why it's the best place to study biology. We're going to start with our student reps, and then Peter, and then Liz, just so everybody knows the order. But I would love to know a little bit about what your favorite parts of CBS, and if you were a student or, also staff or faculty, why did you choose to come to CBS? So Paige, why don't you kick us off, and then we'll move to Caleb, and then Peter and Liz.
Yeah, of course. There's so many things to be fond of, but I think my favorite part of CBS, especially as a senior and reflecting back, is the nature of life sequence. I know previously we talked about how it starts before you go into college, but after you go through the sequence as a student, there are also opportunities to be a part of that process, such as a TA, or being a junior guild leader. I got the experience to do that, so it was really fun leading students. I had about group of 8 freshman students that I was with for over a year. That was a very meaningful experience for me, especially since I was once the student that was being led. So, yeah. And then the reason why I chose CBS, mainly because being a Gopher runs very deep in my family. My entire family has gone to the U, so it just felt natural. And also, I really admired the research that was done here at the U and the bountiful opportunities that I've been able to be a part of here. Very grateful and very happy I ended up here.
Um, You know, I almost didn't even come out to visit the University of Minnesota and CBS. I'm from California, and I initially came out here because I'm on the gymnastics team, and the coaches reached out to me. And I was thinking, there's no way I would go to Minnesota. It's too far away, it's too cold. And I decided to come up, and I came up in January on a sub-zero degree weekend. Um, so when I first landed, I was kind of like, there's no way I'm gonna go to this school. But then I went on my campus tour and talked with some of the CBS team, and I was just so intrigued by the kind of entire school and like college curriculum and setup around biological sciences. It was just I hadn't seen it or I didn't see it at any other school. I believe we're like one of two universities in North America that have a college specifically for biological sciences, and I just loved how the classes built upon each other and were really tailored towards the goals of pre-research or like people who want to go into research, students who want to go pre-med, pre-dental. It felt like it fit me perfectly, like no other school did, and being able to see like kind of that in person and seeing our active learning classrooms and how they really encourage students to be more than just like sitting there listening to lectures is the reason why I initially chose it. But kind of that tailoring, the specific tailoring towards you know, pre-research, pre-med, pre-dental, all that. That's not nearly my favorite part. My favorite part about CBS is probably how like tightly knit the community is. I went to a really small high school, so coming to like a really big school was scary. And I thought that every single time I'd go to class, it'd be like people I didn't know. And every single time I would like meet with my advisor, I wouldn't be close with them because they had so many students and I'd just be another number. But that could be further from the case. I mean, I've met pretty much all of the CBS, I've met a lot of the CBS faculty. Uh, and I have the pleasure of working with a lot of them too. And you have so many opportunities. You know, I've been kind of like Paige. I was a sophomore guild leader, or I am a sophomore guild leader. So I get to work with the NOL team still, and I get have a group of 11 freshmen who I get to TA, and I'm also a peer advisor, so I get to work in the CBS office and I'm also a CBS student senator. So there's definitely like lots of opportunities to get involved, and the professors treat you as like more than just a student in their class. Um, they really want to get to know you. In every single class I've had, the professors treat you much more than just someone there taking the course. They all try to get to know your name and know you personally, which is something that I think is really special at such a big school.
Peter, what do you think?
Sorry to take a second to log on here. So yeah, my favorite things within CBS, I'd say there's kind of three that stand out to me. The first is that I love being able to do research with undergraduate students as well as graduate students and other researchers. It's really fun to be sort of at the cutting edge of science and asking questions where we just don't know what the answer is. And it really motivates me to come into the lab and be involved in all kinds of different projects. At the same time, it's really fun to teach in the foundation series. It's probably, as Caleb mentioned, one of the more interesting class setups where you have an active learning environment. You're paired into teams, but you're working individually on certain parts of the project. And for me, it's exciting to be a research scientist who can look at these textbooks and say, yeah, that's great, but there's this whole other set of things that I want you to know. Or it turns out actually the newest science on that is different than what you see in the textbook. So I think there's a lot of CBS faculty take their research into the classroom, which is quite exciting. And then for me, the classroom and the campus extends beyond the Twin Cities. So I really enjoy the chance to work in greater Minnesota. There are field stations that belong to the University of Minnesota that are based at Itasca. As you saw, there's another one that's called the Cedar Creek Ecosystem Science Reserve. And these are amazing places to do science. There is all kinds of different ecosystems and experiments. And those are really ones where you can come in as a student and have this background of years, maybe decades worth of science to build from. And so we can ask all kinds of interesting questions about the way our planet is changing and how different parts of the ecosystem work. So those are three things. How did I choose CBS? I guess I chose it because this was where the faculty position was. But I think the last thing is, while I'm in the Department of Plant Biology, as Nikki said, I work thematically on mostly questions about ecology and microbes. And so the chance to balance both really, I want to know what these organisms, who they are, but also what they're doing. I think CBS is a great place to have this sort of broad perspective on both, the diversity on this planet as well as sort of how it is all interacting. So those are things that I really think CBS does well.
Awesome. And last but not least, Liz, tell us about your perspective.
Yeah, just really quickly, I'll just say like the students is the thing I love the most about our college. Y'all are really driven folks, really curious folks. And I think that the college provides the opportunity to learn biology by doing biology. We're talking a lot about undergraduate research opportunities. Our career folks within student services do a good job of connecting students with internships, volunteer shadowing opportunities as well. So it's like this awesome combination of really driven students, lots of opportunity because we're a Research One university, and this small community feeling that I think starts at Itasca. And as a lake girl, cabin girl, that's one of my favorite things as well.
Great, thank you all. A couple of questions that I saw in the chat that I just want to mention. I saw this question comes up almost always. Which major is best for pre-med? I saw that Kirsten, our senior pre-health coach, who is somebody that you can work with as you're getting ready to apply and prepare to medical school and think about experiences, has answered it in the chat, but I'll also add a little tidbit. Our department chair for biochemistry would tell you that biochemistry is definitely the best major if you want to go pre-med. But then a number of years ago, our ecology, evolution, and behavior department chair wrote a little article about why EEB is actually the best major, thinking from a One Health perspective and the interaction of environment, animals, and humans. And so, we like to throw down around a lot of different parts of biology, and any of our majors can help you get to your goal. Another question, and this is for Caleb and Paige. What is your favorite CBS class that you've taken so far? And then what is a class that you've taken outside of CBS that has really sparked your curiosity or was a really great class?
Mm, My favorite CBS class so far was probably genetics. Um, it all of a lot of the bio classes, the kind of geared away from chem. The bio classes are almost always active learning in CBS, and you get to work with a team. And I always really enjoy working with a team because I feel like it's more real world applicable, more hands on. You know, like you're never really in a lot of biological fields. You're not really working by yourself. So just learning to work with a group of people is great. And then it just, obviously I'm a biology major and pre-med. I find genetics extremely interesting. And my favorite not CBS class was probably my leadership 2 class. I have a leadership minor, and I really enjoyed it because it's not so much quote unquote academic, where you're memorizing a bunch of facts. You write a few papers, but it's more about learning to connect with other people, and once again, kind of like how to lead a team and how to and just like I think that I really liked it because it first of all is fun. We gotta do fun things together, and then it also just taught me more how to work with others and work in a team.
My favorite classes I've taken within CBS has got to be the Foundations of Biology sequence. There's two classes that's part of the sequence, so Foundations of Biology 1 and Foundations of Biology 2. And the reason why they're definitely my favorite is the way they are taught. You are in teams for these two classes. And I'm really grateful that the teams that was a part of my freshman year, I'm actually still really, really close with a lot of the people in my teams today. So just that connection aspect and community aspect of those classes makes them my favorite. But also, it's a very new and different learning style, especially for me, coming from my high school, learning in groups and being with a team and being able to support each other, learning about, difficult topics. And yeah, it was just a great environment to be in. And I really learned a lot in that class. And yeah. And then my favorite non-CBS class, this is the easy answer for me because I'm also an art degree student, but I am primarily a painter, so my favorite non-CBS class has got to be advanced painting.
Awesome. It's always fun to see. I know there was a couple of questions in the chat about balancing double majors or other areas of interest. One of the cool things about being at the University of Minnesota is we have a foundation of liberal education, which means you take a lot of classes from a number of different fields in addition to your major and areas of concentration. And a lot of our CBS students are outside of CBS, one of the most popular double majors that we see is actually Spanish or French. And when we look at where CBS students are studying abroad, they are also often doing a language as part of their study abroad experience, in addition to studying science or doing scientific research abroad. Paige had mentioned something about working in teams and learning to do that in CBS. And Peter, I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of a kind of lead in to talk a little bit about foundations from a faculty perspective and how students can be successful in that. But just a little fun fact, this weekend, we're having our case study competition in which CBS students sign up, come in on a Saturday and work through a biological problem and prepare a poster to think about their solution and work in teams to be able to do that. And we've had a couple of different teams that have signed up that met in foundations when they were first year students. And so always a good sign when you're still friends later and want to work together. So we know that's a critical skill for scientists tomorrow. How about that, Peter?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that's important to emphasize is that the physical classroom that these foundations classes are taught in actually really helps facilitate this active learning module. And so unlike having a big lecture hall where there's sort of just one professor on stage and you're looking into this sort of auditorium of many, many faces, the classroom actually doesn't have one center place. There is a podium and the professor does have a place where slides can be put up and there are TAs that are involved and in the classroom, but each table, and it can range in table number depending on which classroom you're in, usually has between 7 and 8 students around it. And then there is a large LCD monitor. There's also a whiteboard that's right next to it. There are microphones that are integrated at the table. And so it's a really easy way for me to actually sort of focus the center of the attention on the groups rather than on the professor. And so a lot of what we do is we will have, introductory lectures that usually last for, something on the order of half of one of the 2 main class meetings in a given week. A lot of that involved breakout questions or working on problems or doing diagrams. You saw a picture in some of the slides that Dean DeWalt had put up. And so that becomes quite important. And then from there, you're usually given some sort of team task. And there's lots of ways to approach those. Some of those are sequential. Sometimes part of a team works on one thing, part of a team works on another thing. Sometimes the teams are themselves giving each other feedback. And so that's one kind of part of the weekly dynamic. One of the fun things that we do in my classes, we often do an individual quiz and a team quiz. Sometimes it's the same question, sometimes it's different. It's always exciting to watch how much better the team quiz score is than the individual scores. There's this shared knowledge that exists, and when it's shared, it shows that you actually can do better when you ask for your peers to help you understand topics. And so there's definitely some, effort in the beginning to try and make teams successful. There are check-in periods, there's peer feedback opportunities, there are individual assignments, of course, in these projects. For me, one of the most exciting opportunities with the teamwork is we do something called a long-term project. And what that means is that for the half of the 7 weeks that I see the students in my section, they are all working as a team on a project that will span the entire period. And so what I ask students to do is ask an ecological question and test a novel hypothesis using data that comes from the National Ecological Observatory Network, which is a number of sites spread out across the United States. There's 81 of these sites. And so we have these huge amounts of data that the students actually, believe it or not, take down millions of data points and wrangle these through various different sort of computer programs for which they get help and support on working on. And they present answers to ecological questions that aren't known at scales that are huge, at the scale of basically all of North America. And so for me, it's really exciting. It's really fun to see what those projects are, which organisms get picked. So that's kind of, I think, one of the examples of how the teamwork plays out in the Foundations course.
Awesome. Well, one of the things that I've also noticed in the chat a little bit is thinking about adjustment to college, both sort of workload, balancing different parts. I am curious, Paige, I'm going to have you start, then we'll flip over to Caleb and Liz. I'm curious about your observations, but what's something that maybe you learned about yourself in the first year here at the U and in CBS, and or any advice or patterns that maybe we've seen of first year students and their adjustment to CBS? Paige?
I think the biggest thing I learned is that you can never be too organized. My freshman year, especially too, coming into college, everything was so new and I was so nervous. I definitely was a big planner, and that did end up really helping me. But another thing that also helped was I came in with a lot of credits as I did PSEO here at the U actually for 2 years before I came here. So I was able to have a lighter freshman year course load, and I think that really helped with just adapting to college life and being able to get involved in things other than class. And yeah.
Great. Paige has also been a teaching assistant for some different first year classes. So I know she's had a number of different, her own experience, but then also watched our first year students. Caleb, what about your experience?
Kind of like what Paige said, you can never be too organized. Freshman year, I wasn't like Paige. I didn't, especially first semester, I didn't keep a planner or a calendar, and that got up to me a lot. I was able to balance it all in high school and keep it in the back of my head. But there's just so much more going on and so many different things that are independent of each other that you want to all compile them to one place. So like my biggest piece of advice is just make sure you have a calendar and a planner so you know what to do and when to do it. Um, if you don't do that, you'll learn from your mistakes like me. Um, Another really big piece of advice I have for adjustment is find your community. Especially if you're coming like far away from home and you don't know anyone else at the school like me. Having people helps a lot. You know, you're away from your family, you're away from your friends. So try to find your community. And the best way you can do that is by joining different clubs, getting involved with different things outside of class. I mean, like freshman year, I got involved with undergraduate student government, and then sophomore year, I got involved more with the honors program. I'm the team lead for the peer mentor program through for CBS through that, and I met a lot of people through there. I met a lot of people through being a SGL, so and through different clubs. And even if it's just like something for fun, like a recreational sport, don't be afraid to try new things and find your people.
I think as an outside observer, as an advisor, I think the biggest issues, one of them our students have already talked about is time management. And it's associated with the next one, which is our students want to get involved in everything right away. And so we really encourage students as a part of their first year checkbacks. So we will have you all come in and speak with your assigned academic advisor in your first semester on campus. Part of those discussions will be about what are you interested in, how are you connecting into community, and then sometimes we do have conversations about what can we maybe step back from this semester as we're kind of adjusting to a different rigor of coursework and just balancing all of the things, right? A lot of us are living on campus, away from home. The internal to the home alarm clock of parents isn't going off. And so yeah, just learning how to transition to being a college student and living independently. That's something that everyone just learns how to do. So.
Great. I am just watching the time and making sure that we probably have time for about one more question, but I'm noticing a number of different questions in the chat about prerequisites for med school, dental school, pre-health programs in particular. Often students who are pre-health, though not all, do choose biology just because it has the most flexible major to ensure that you are able to select different courses and manage all of your prerequisites. That being said, we certainly have a number of students who choose specific majors like biochem or neuroscience, my plug for EEB, of course, who go on to health professional programs. Also, typically, as students who are looking to do, we have a number of CBS students who go on to graduate programs, particularly PhD programs right away, and that admission and prerequisites are much more flexible in terms of just really getting good grades and getting involved in research. Paige, as we were getting set up before this session, when you came in, we were asking you about one or two of your different research experiences, but maybe if you could just share a little bit with us about how did you find a research experience? And then I'll look to Peter for the faculty perspective. What are you looking for a student to say, yes, come and work in my lab?
Yeah, of course. The biggest perk of being at a large university is that there are an abundance of research opportunities for students of all types. I am currently in two different labs. So the first lab I'm in, I work in the Child Institute of Development. I conduct autism research. That is for my honors senior thesis. And then the other lab that I'm in, I do dermatological research at the medical school under Dr. Noah Goldbarb. And both of these labs I found in kind of funny ways, but the lab that I'm at for the medical school, I just emailed him and said, "Hey, I like what you do. Do you have any opportunities for undergraduate students?" I'm personally really interested in dermatology as I'm pre-med. So, and I thought his work really closely aligned with what I'm interested in. So I just shot him an email with that information, and it worked out. And been in the lab for a few years now. And then the other lab that I'm in for my honors thesis, there was actually a flyer on the wall with a QR code, and I scanned it. And that's how I ended up in that lab. So,
I love to hear that things like that really work. Peter?
yes, they do.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so there's kind of a handful of different ways that I can reach out when there are opportunities in the lab. And so I can post, through various flyers. I can use the Go for Research portal that exists as a way to share some of the opportunities that exist. I often will, receive emails just like what Paige did. I think those are great. I think if those emails are tailored, like it sounded like Paige did a really good job of saying, this is why I like your lab. I've done a little bit of homework. This is what I'm excited about. That goes a long way, and that's great, rather than receiving what feels like sort of a bulk email. It's like, wow, this person really knows what our lab is doing and seems like they're excited about that. So that can help them get sort of, I think, into the research a little more easily than just sort of having the feeling of, oh, I'm just sort of checking this box so that I'm ready to go on with a research experience. I don't know about Paige's case, and I certainly have students who have not gone on. I've had a number of students who've gone to med school, even though I study plants and microbes and their interactions in soil, that have been through my lab. But a number of folks, when they get involved in research, it's just a great opportunity to kind of take what you're learning in the classroom and apply a lot of that knowledge. So how do you actually sort of address ecological or scientific questions more broadly? And so you practice that and you do that, but doing it on a question that no one knows the answer to for not an assignment is really an exciting, I think, experience. And it's so, I guess, in engaging for me to work with students who are definitely, they look at these experiments and think, wow, what is going on? And then we sort of puzzle through things, and then we try something else. Okay. And it's a very non-linear process. Research, in the way it's written down in papers, it looks like scientists are all very smart and all those experiments just go step 1, step 2, step 3. It does not work that way at all. And so I think you need to be persistent. But in terms of finding students, I would say, use the, sort of opportunities that exist at the U, in terms of talking to your friends, if there are labs that they've heard about, and then, think broadly if you can. I mean, I think there are off-campus research opportunities that exist as well. And so again, I do a lot of work out in the field, in the forests at Itasca and in the forests and grasslands at Cedar Creek, and I get to work with undergrads who are CBS undergrads in those settings, and those are great and exciting. And there are chances for students to live off campus at those places and spend the summer doing research for, many weeks at a time and get paid to do it. So yeah, those are all ways that I think you can get engaged. And I think having that research experience, regardless of what field it's in, will help you for your future career. You will be a better scientist, you'll be a better citizen. And I think CBS does a really good job of supporting its students in that way.
Okay, well, our panel has done such a great job of giving us comprehensive responses. And I think to conclude, I'm going to actually flip it and ask them to be really succinct and choose one word to describe CBS. One of the things that is certainly important in CBS is learning to take all of your research and distill it so the public can understand. So that's your challenge right here. I'm going to have Paige start, then Caleb, Liz, and Peter will bring us home with one word to describe CBS.
Yeah, my one word to describe CBS is going to have to be rewarding.
My word would be community.
I would say opportunity.
I think my word would be diverse.
That's great. That's great. As you can see, in choosing 4 different words to describe CBS, our hope is that we've given you both answered your questions as well as a comprehensive look of what your experience might be like as first-year students here in the College of Biological Sciences at the University of Minnesota. I'm going to pass it over to Lynn, who's going to bring us home with some final reflections, but a special thank you to our panel.
Thank you again to our panelists for all of your insight. I know we are reaching the end of our webinar, but I do have a few important announcements for y'all, especially being admitted students. There are some big deadlines that will be coming up. I'll be highlighting them here, but don't feel like you have to memorize it. You will have some time to take a picture of our slides. We'll also drop a link in the chat for the checklist for admitted freshmen. It'll pop up in just a second, but big things I want to highlight. One, future Go for Admitted Day. This is not the end of our time together. If you can, please come onto campus. We have 3 different dates for you to choose from. Another thing I'd like to highlight is if you choose to confirm here at the University of Minnesota, our registration for orientation and nature of life at Itasca will open up starting on March 25th. So just keep an eye out for that. But again, you have until May 1st to make that decision if you'd like to come here or not. Our priority deadline also for housing will be May 1st as well. It is on a first come, first served basis. And if you are specifically interested in our living learning communities like our biohouse, make sure to get your application in by March 1st. And once you have all that done, you've committed, you decide you want to come here, just make sure to send in your high school transcript and your test scores by July 1st. So that way we can make sure everything is kind of on the right track. And after you get all of that done, you'll be able to begin your journey as a Golden Gopher. And again, that's all that we have for you today. Thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. And I hope you really were able to get a glimpse of the amazing things that the University of Minnesota has to offer if you decide to choose to attend next fall. As I mentioned earlier, again, this is just the starting point. I really want to see all of y'all over at Future Gopher Admitted Day. And if you have any questions in the meantime, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Have a good evening, everyone. And again, congratulations on your admission. Go Gophers.